Monster is an anime based off the manga by Naoki Urasawa. Now, I have a little bit of a background with this story because one of the libraries that I use has all of the 18 volumes. They had like the deluxe versions, the 2 tankobon volumes, so there's 9 of them total. I borrowed them all and read the whole thing over the course of a week. I didn't quite get the story the first time, to be honest. It's a very large and expansive in terms of scope and theme, a lot of complexity that you don't really catch the first time. But Netflix, in my country, had the anime. So I watched the first 30 episodes, didn't realize it was actually a full 74. So they uploaded the other 44 episodes, and I was kind of slagging in the middle. To be honest, there's a bit of a lag there in the pacing. But if you're unfamiliar, Monster is about Dr. Kenzo Tenma. He is a brilliant surgeon working in Germany. He's engaged to Eva Heinemann, the daughter of the director of the hospital, and he is a dynamo with a blade. Whenever someone comes in, you're in good hands with Dr. Kenzo Tenma. However, Tenma finds himself in a crisis of conscience because sometimes the director pulls him off of the poorer people and gives priority to special patients. So he was taken off of a laborer and given to someone else, someone with a higher status. And then when he's confronted again, when he's about to start a surgery on a small boy who was shot in the head, he decides to keep going with that surgery and doesn't go with the mayor, which the director wanted, putting his career and his whole, life in a different trajectory. So we find out that this boy is no ordinary boy, though. He is actually kind of like a Hannibal Lecter-like psychopath, and the reason for the gunshot will shock you. So we do get a bit of a time skip going on with different things going on, with Tenma going in a different direction and different things happening at the hospital. But basically, you have to watch the first 3 episodes to get to see if you like the concept, and then you're in for the full ride. This isn't the easiest anime to get into. It's a full 74 episodes. That's like 3 times as long as a normal season of anime. But the story in itself is very ambitious. So you have to sort of go in with the highs and lows. You try to marathon it if you can. But like for me, it took me like 4 months to do the whole thing. Lost interest a little bit. Had to go back in. Sometimes they'll introduce secondary, tertiary characters. And sometimes there'll be whole episodes without Tenma. They'll just be entire episodes about some character you don't even know, or they introduce just a side character, or they'll focus on a character you don't like. They introduce a lot of different characters in this. There's psychologists and doctors and detectives and civilians and killers, all sorts of things going on. But the tone of this anime series is basically The Fugitive meets Silence of the Lambs. So Tenma is framed for something and he goes on the run, trying to clear his name, develop some skills to stop the young boy who's now grown up named Johan. Johan basically has become an enigmatic figure over the years growing up and taking control of different things, created a shadow organization of sorts, and he's like a puppeteer playing with people like ants, and he's got like this almost supernatural ability, kind of like Hannibal Lecter. When Miggs, the character in Silence of the Lambs, throws his jizz at Clarice, it angers Dr. Hannibal Lecter, and he convinces Miggs to swallow his own tongue. So like Johan sort of does this throughout the entire series. He's got this almost supernatural ability to just talk someone into suicide or to do something drastic or kill someone for him, and it's usually done off the screen or off page if you read the manga. But it's a very intriguing mix, because when I watch the anime, it's almost like taking in the story a second time. And I went on Reddit and discovered all these different themes and all these different hidden things, and there's a lot more than just what you see on the screen. And it's just really fascinating how the first time I read it, I was just like, oh, this is a pretty good crime thriller. But the second time, it's a lot more different, a lot more hidden meaning with character motivations, different things like that. So it's a very complex, enjoyable anime. If you like crime thrillers like Mindhunter or Silence of the Lambs, or can be a little bit of serialized, because it takes forever. Not every episode has payoff either. Sometimes it's just an episode of Tenma training or something, or some guy waiting around and then he finally tells Tenma something at the end of an episode. But overall, I feel it's a very fascinating, excellent anime. It's a classic. Some people compare it a lot with Death Note or other crime thriller anime, but it's definitely one of the best animes. It's a really good adaptation still, very ambitious, and if you're willing to be patient, you're going to get a really interesting story. So those are my thoughts on Monster the Anime.